Good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. Today is Thursday, January 15th. The month is halfway over, people. That's crazy. January 15th, 2026. Here we are in southwestern Nevada in hardscrabble country. Pahrump or Pahrump-Kentucky. We are 60 miles east of Sin City, 60 miles west of Sin City, 60 miles east of Death Valley, 70 miles south of Area 51. Hardscrabble country, sharp-elbowed, rootin' tootin', pistol packing people. And that's who he is. You can always tell somebody from Pahrump. You just can't tell them much. Right. So here we are. And our themo of today is another day, another dollar. Oops. Gotta get that done. Sorry, people. Handled. Okay, another day, another dollar. What does that mean? Well, one thing it could mean is just get up, repeat, rinse and repeat. Do the same thing over and over again. Could be that, could be another day of opportunity. Let's make something happen. Okay, well, we are here as always for our students and other interested people to help them on their journey through this life, to give the tools. If we're doing the give a man a fish, if we're doing that story, we are not into giving a man a fish, because what? If you give him a fish, you what? Feed him for a day. If you teach him to fish, what? You feed him for life. Perhaps. Just because you know how to fish, it doesn't mean you're going to catch any fish. You have to know where to fish, and you need to know what to do with the fish when you get it. Right. So, yeah. So that's what we do. We try to give you the tools, show you how to use the tools, know when to use the tools. And our fundamental purpose is in our day 4 in week 3 for neuroscience-oriented approach to success. And I got a comment on, I think, the last video from one of our guys that said, I left prison with 2 of the books. Why? Because they work. Right. I wonder how many are still floating around the prisons of Nevada. How many? Well, who knows? The shadow do. Okay, so today is day 4, week 3, neuroscience-oriented approach to success, the magical science of storytelling. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's look at what does advice from an 80-year-old. Advice from an 80-year-old. Okay, there we go. Never deprive someone of hope. It might be all they have. Never deprive someone of hope. It might be all they have. Okay. All right. About Seth Godin, what does he have to say? Well, Mad Magazine, Auto Stereogram, Cute Core, pop culture is spiraling. I had no idea what Mad Magazine, Auto Stereogram, Cute Core meant, but it was enough for Midjourney to create this. Older generations have always been left out of the code words and trends of the makers of pop culture, but the gatekeepers and the lack of shelf space kept pop popular. There are only 40 songs in the top 40, only a few hit network TV shows. 3 things have changed. 1, the long tail means there's room for more, always. As many as 25% of all Spotify songs have only been listened to a few times. The average video on YouTube is seen once a day. Wow. AI generation of art, music, video, and writing means that the pace of creation is going to grow exponentially. Mimetic identities, genres, and code words are easier for AI to begin with than complex images. And so, new genres multiply, get exaggerated, evolve, and morph into new genres. It's genetic material, not run amok. The end result is that pop is not popular anymore. It may never be again. The center was a moment of time, but the edges are now everywhere. We should plan accordingly. Some deep stuff there. Deep stuff. Right. There's some deep stuff there. Mad Magazine. Right. Okay, cool. Let's get back to it. Let's get around to it. Who's got the round to its? Where are the round to its? Is this around to it? Is that around to it? Who knows? Who knows? Beep bop. All right. So let's look at our worksheet for today. Our daily worksheet. Beep bop. Daily Stoic. Ryan Holiday says there's 3 things you need to know. One of them, the second one is we can't control what happens. We can only control how we react. Good information. Jordan Peterson talks about betrayal, the impact of betrayal. It's like it really wipes everything out because you thought you knew the person, but clearly you didn't. So you don't know who they are. You don't even know who you are because you thought you knew. Now you don't know. So it really is a devastating thing. Betrayal is very, very harmful. And probably need to do more about that. Next. What else we got here? Okay, well, let's talk about the magical science of storytelling. And before we do, think about bracket on Yuval Harari. Why do humans control the planet? I know, it was a long time ago. It was 2 weeks ago. So why do humans control the planet? Only humans, all animals, only humans can work flexibly in large numbers. No other animal can. Because we can work flexibly in large numbers, we can do pretty amazing things. We're able to do some pretty amazing things because we can work flexibly in large numbers. Why can we work flexibly in large numbers? Yuval Harari says because we invent stories, we tell fictional stories. And if we all believe the story, we will play out the story. We'll go along with it. So one story is money, right? One story is money. And the idea is if we all believe this green piece of paper, you can walk into any store to a complete stranger, give them this green piece of paper, and you can have a banana. If everybody believes that green piece of paper has value, then we will accept it. Animals don't do that. Chimpanzees will not trade you a banana for a dollar bill because the dollar bill they see has no value. We believe it has value, so we act accordingly. And there's a lot of things like that. Every law is a fictional story, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So Yuval Harari says humans control the planet because we can work flexibly in large numbers, and we can do that because we can invent stories. And if we can get people to believe the story, then we'll act it out. Okay, fast forward to today. David Phillips, The Magical Science of Storytelling. It turns out that when we hear a story, it can release these neurotransmitters, these hormones, neurohormones in our system that make us feel a certain way. So that's pretty amazing. We can think a thought. We not only can we do. We think thoughts. We turn that thought, so electrical impulses in our brain, we turn that thought into sound waves that we can then articulate, send those sound waves, that's kind of cool, sound those sound waves through the air, they go into other people's ears, and they get converted to electricity, and they can release neurotransmitters in the other person. Wow. Yeah, that's how it works, people. That is how it works on a neuroscience level. Thought, sound waves hit eardrums turn it into electrical impulses that somehow magically release chemicals that make us feel a certain way. It's not just sound waves, it could be what we see, smell, taste, touch, etc. Okay, so the magical science of storytelling is you can pre-think of what neurotransmitter, how do I want that person to feel? How do I want them to feel? Do I want them to feel happy, sad, brave, fearful, whatever? And I want you to feel that way, so I'm going to tell a story. I'm going to tell a story with the intention of releasing neurotransmitters. So let's take it out of the real world and move it into church. Let's move it into church. And let's think of what is a good pastor. And we'll say a good pastor is one who we really feel what? The Spirit. We feel the Holy Spirit. The pastor is in there and we feel the Holy Spirit. We feel the Holy Spirit. But is it actually the Holy Spirit? Well, they put people in an fMRI machine. I think it was the University of Utah a decade ago, I think, asking people to pray. And when you feel the Holy Spirit, push the button because we want to see what's going on in your brain at that point in time. And they did all different variations of this. And the bottom line was, didn't matter what religion you were or if you were an atheist. If you thought certain thoughts, certain chemicals would be released and your neural activity would look like this. And that would release chemicals in your body and you would feel a certain way. Okay, so what we're learning today is how to take that thing, the ability to make people feel stuff by hearing things. You hear something and then you feel a certain way. New policy by the sheriff's department, the sheriff who's going to be running for re-election. Make people aware that we are out there. We are keeping you safe. No, we're not keeping you safe. We are creating the idea of a police presence. We're getting people used to sirens all the time. Be in a state of awareness. Don't feel safe and secure. Feel like something's going on. That siren is caught. Oh, perfect example of storytelling. What's the story behind a siren? And how should that siren make me feel? Danger, wake up, what's going on? Something's happened, something bad is happening, right? Versus how do we feel when we hear the sound of a ice cream truck? What is an ice cream truck supposed to make us feel? Happy, we've earned a reward, ice cream, right? All things to make us feel good. What is the siren designed to do? Warning, danger, danger, watch out, be aware. Right. So let's get right down to the bottom line. David Phillips says there's 4 things you need to know. 1, people are not born good storytellers. Good storytellers are made and they follow a formula. So write down your stories. Think of stories, write them down. Write them down. Because that develops the story more. You have a better, tighter story if you write it down. And now you can use AI to sharpen the story even more. Okay, so you write down the story. Next, think of what neurotransmitters, how do I want people to feel? Or how do people feel from this story? Some stories are obvious, right? And you could go into AI and say, okay, I want people to feel happy. And here's the story, and it's a happy story. I want them to feel happy when they read it. Can you punch it up a little bit? All right, so now you have stories, and you've identified the neurotransmitter that goes with them. Next, 4th, when you walk into you choose the story. So when you're going to go into an event, before you tell them what you're going to tell them, before you tell them the compelling story, before we do what this week is all about, you tell a story as a booster rocket, as the initial one to get it going. If you want to bond with people, you probably want to make them laugh. So a lot of people start their talks with jokes. Why? Because we're trying to bond with people. And if I bond with you, you see the world the same way I see the world. We see the world the same way. So then when I tell you we need to change the status quo, if I tell you why we need to change the status quo, and here's why. If we are bonded, you are going to what? Agree with me. This is Protestant Church 101. Bond. We're going to sing together. We're going to talk about the Holy Spirit. We're going to do stuff like that. I'm going to say words that are going to induce the release of neurotransmitters. I'm going to tell you, here's what that is. That's the Holy Spirit. And you are going to be energized. So when I say go out and change the world, boom, out of the gate, we're going to do that. Why? Because I have a thought. I turn that thought into sound waves. The sound waves came into your ears, turned into electrical things, release neurotransmitters. We bond, we go forward. The end. Cut. Till tomorrow.